How to build a bot and automate your everyday work. Most jobs have repetitive tasks that you can automate, which frees up some of your valuable time. This makes automation a key skill to acquire. A small group of skilled automation engineers and domain experts may be able to automate many of the most tedious tasks of entire teams. In this article, we'll explore the basics of workflow automation using Python, a powerful and easy to learn programming language. We will use Python to write an easy and helpful little automation script that will clean up a given folder and put each file into its according folder. We also won't build anything illegal. Instead, we'll look at how to create a script that automatically cleans up a given folder and all of its files. The art of automation applies to most sectors. For starters, it helps with tasks like extracting email addresses from a bunch of documents so you can do an email blast. Or more complex approaches like optimizing workflows and processes inside of large corporations. Of course, going from small personal scripts to large automation infrastructure that replaces actual people involves a process of learning and improving. So let's see where you can start your journey. Simple automations allow for a quick and straightforward entry point. This can cover small independent processes like project cleanups and restructuring of files inside of directories. Or parts of a workflow like automatically resizing already saved files. Public API automations are the most common form of automation since we can access most functionality using HTTP requests to APIs nowadays. For example, if you want to automate the watering of your self-made smart garden at home. To do that, you want to check the weather of the current day to see whether you need to water or if there is rain incoming. API reverse engineering based automation is more common in actual bots and the bot imposter section of the chart in the ethical considerations section below. By reverse engineering an API, we understand the user flow of applications. One example could be the login into an online browser game. By understanding the login and authentication process, we can duplicate that behavior with our own script. Then we can create our own interface to work with the application even though they don't provide it themselves. Likes and engagement are digital currency and you are devaluing them. This stuck with me and made me question the tool I've built for exactly that purpose. The fact that these interactions and the engagement can be automated and faked more and more leads to a distorted and broken social media system. People who produce valuable and good content are invisible to other users and advertisement companies if they don't use bots and other engagement systems. A friend of mine came up with the following association with Dante's 9 Circles of Hell, where with each step closer to becoming a social influencer you get less and less aware of how broken this whole system actually is. I want to share this with you here since I think it's an extremely accurate representation of what I witnessed while actively working with influencers with Instap. Level 2, flirtation, when you manually like and follow as many people as you can to get them to follow you back, like your posts. Level 3, conspiracy, when you join a Telegram group to like and comment on 10 photos so the next 10 people will like and comment on your photo. Level 5, lust, when you use a bot to give likes and don't receive any likes back in return, but you don't pay for it, for example. A Chrome extension. Level 6, promiscuity, when you use a bot to give 50 plus likes to get 50 plus likes. But you don't pay for it, for example. A Chrome extension. Level 7, avarice or extreme greed, when you use a bot to like, follow, comment on between 200 to 700 photos. Ignoring the chance of getting banned. Level 8, prostitution, when you pay an unknown third-party service to engage in automated reciprocal likes, follows for you. But they use your account to like, follow back. Level 9, fraud, heresy, when you buy followers and likes and try to sell yourself to brands as an influencer. The level of botting on social media is so prevalent that if you don't bot, you will be stuck in level 1. Limbo, with no follower growth and low engagement relative to your peers. In economic theory, this is known as a prisoner's dilemma and zero-sum game. If I don't bot and you bot, you win. If you don't bot and I bot, I win. If no one bots, everyone wins. But since there is no incentive for everyone not to bot, everyone bots. So no one wins. We want to avoid dealing with ethical implications and still work on an automation project here. This is why we will create a simple directory cleanup script that helps you organize your messy folders. We now want to look at a quite simple script. It automatically cleans up a given directory by moving those files into according folders based on the file extension. Since we are working with operating system functionality like moving files, we need to import the OS library. In addition to that, we want to give the user some control over what folder is cleaned up. We will use the argparse library for this. Import argparse after importing the two libraries. Let's first set up the argument parser. Make sure to give a description and a help text to each added argument to give valuable help to the user when they type help. Our argument will be named path. The double dashes in front of the name tell the library that this is an optional argument. By default, we want to use the current directory. So set the default value to be printf cleaning up directory path. This already finishes the argument parsing section. It's quite simple and readable. Right equals greater than cleaning up directory test once executed. We can see the directory name being printed to the console. Perfect. By using the OSListDir path method and providing it a valid path, we get a list of all the files and folders inside of that directory. After listing all elements in the folder, we want to differentiate between files and folders since we don't want to clean up the folders, only the files. In this case, we use a Python list comprehension to iterate through all the elements and put them into the new lists if they meet the given requirement of being a file or folder. Printf cleaning up len docs of len dir content elements. As always, let's make sure that our users get feedback. So add a print statement that gives the user an indication about how many files will be moved. Equals greater than cleaning up 60 of 60 elements. After re-executing the Python script, we can now see that the test folder I created contains 60 files that will be moved. The next and more important step now is to create the folder for each of the file extensions. We want to do this by going through all of our filtered files and if they have an extension for which there is no folder already, create one. The OS library helps us with more nice functionality like the splitting of the file type and path of a given document, extracting the path itself and name of the document. Break the break statement at the end of the code above makes sure that our terminal does not get spammed if our directory contains dozens of files. Equals greater than test 17. We can now see that the implementation above splits off the file type and then extracts the parts from the full path. Before we do that, we want to make sure to skip a few files. If we use the current directory as the path, we need to avoid moving the Python script itself. A simple if condition takes care of that. In addition to that, we don't want to move hidden files. So let's also include all files that start with a dot. The store file on macOS is an example of a hidden file. Create the folder once we've taken care of the Python script and hidden files. We can now move on to creating the folders on the system. In addition to our check if the folder already was there when we read the content of the directory. In the beginning, we need a way to track the folders we've already created. That was the reason we declared the created folders equals list. It will serve as the memory to track the names of folders. To create a new folder, the OS library provides a method called osmkdir folder path that takes a path and creates a folder with the given name there. This method may throw an exception, telling us that the folder already exists. So let's also make sure to catch that error. Printf folder already exists at subfolder path. After setting up the folder creation, let's re-execute our script. Equals greater than folder test pdf created. On the first run of execution, we can see a list of logs telling us that the folders with the given types of file extensions have been created. An important thing to understand when working with OS operations is that sometimes operations cannot be undone. This is, for example, the case with deletion, so it makes sense to first only log out the behavior our script would achieve if we execute it. Printf moved file doc to new doc path after executing our script and seeing the correct logging. We can now remove the comment hash before our OS rename method and give it a final go. Equals greater than renamed 60 of 60 files. This final execution will now move all the files into their appropriate folders and our directory will be nicely cleaned up without the need for manual actions. In the next step, we could now use the script we created above and, for example, schedule it to execute every Monday to clean up our downloads folder for more structure. That is exactly what we are creating as a follow-up inside of our bot creation and workflow automation Udemy course. Felix and I built an online video course to teach you how to create your own bots based on what we've learned building Instapy and his Travian bot. In fact, he was even forced to take down since it was too effective. If you have any questions or feedback, feel free to reach out to us on Twitter or directly in the discussion section of the course. Passionate learner and developer interested in automation uses Scratch to teach coding to kids in workshops at a local city library. Open source enthusiast, creator of Instapy. Learn to code for free. FreeCodeCamp's open source curriculum has helped more than 40,000 people get jobs as text source, freecodecamp.org.